Okay, I am in Norwalk, California, and I'm standing in front of a building that has been on my mind to shoot for quite a while. I've been here several times scouting, and each time I've come here, the problems that pop up in my mind, I just can't seem to overcome, and it goes on the no-go list. But you know what? It's really been bugging me, and I think that I have solved all the problems. Incidentally, I did just speak with the owner. Very nice guy, said he's been there 35 years. Before that, it was a real estate office, and he doesn't do 1 hour photo anymore. It was built in the 60s. Very nice guy, but I don't have a problem talking to the owners and just letting them know that I'm out here just so they don't think anything weird is going on. All right, so let's go over the problems that I've got with this location. Number one, the building is north facing. So it's never going to get any direct sunlight. And the problem with that is if I exposed correctly for the building, everything else would be blown out, the sidewalk would be too hot, besides that there's too many cars in the way, yada, yada, yada. Daytime is not going to happen. So I need a shot that is absent sunlight. So that gives me 3 different possibilities: dusk, dawn, or evening. So right now it's dusk, and there are just way too many cars out here. This shot could never happen. I mean, I've been here for a few minutes, and I haven't seen a clean shot. And I need a long exposure shot, probably with a large format camera, because I do want to do this on 6x17. So dusk is out. Let's talk about evening, like late evening when there's no cars out here. The problem with that is the building is not lit. So yeah, you could do super long exposure, but the sky would be black. It just, you know what, it just wouldn't look right. So I think that leaves me with dawn. And I sort of like dawn because there shouldn't be really any cars out here, or if there are, maybe just a couple, and hopefully there'll be no cars parked in front of the building there, and that should work. I really don't want any pink in the sky, maybe just a little bit. I don't want a real colorful sky to take away from just the subject being dead center, 6x17, nice, simplistic shot. So I think dawn it is. All right, so the other problem is the composition. So you can see that there is a bush in the center of the street there, and there's also utility lines above the subject. So my plan is to get a 6x17 shot to fit right under the utility lines and right above the bush. The problem is I'm a short guy, and if I were to set up a 6x17 right here, I would not clear that bush. So I need to get my camera way up here, which I can do. I'll just bring a big tripod, a ladder, and then I'll shoot directly onto the building, and I should get some clearance between that bush and the curb. So I want to get a sliver of street right under the subject so that I can have the curb in the shot and just miss the utility lines. I think that's all doable. The problem is I want to use a 5x7 sheet because 5x7, it's the same width as 6x17, so that doesn't matter, but I want to have the freedom to move the composition up and down once I take the shot. If I want to include the power lines afterwards, or if I want, for some stupid reason, I wanted to include the bush, which I know I won't. But anyways, I think 5x7 is definitely the way to go. But the problem is, and this is the biggest one, is I want to shoot this on Portra 160, right? So 5x7 is not available in Portra 160, at least that I've been able to find. So that one stumped me. Until just the other day, I thought, you know what? I've got an 8x10 camera. I've got 8x10 sheet film, Portra 160. What if I just cut an 8x10 sheet film in half? Wouldn't that be 8x5? And if I cut an inch off, I'd have 2 5x7 sheets. So I looked around a little bit. I found a rotary cutter on Amazon. It's got a little thing you can push down and hold the film in place and just should be able to cut it nicely. Tricky part is doing it in the dark, but I think that I can do it. So I'm definitely going to give that a shot here. and then try to make this shot happen. So hopefully I don't mess that up, but it shouldn't be too hard. So I'm gonna go home here next couple days, probably this weekend. I'm gonna cut those sheets and then keep an eye on the weather. I just need clear skies and dawn. So hopefully the next time I see you, I'll be running down the freeway before sunrise.
So I didn't have to wait very long for the weather to cooperate. So I woke up early one morning, jumped on the freeway at about 4:15 and headed for Norwalk. Let's go ahead and hit the gas and speed this up. Alright, so this is what it looked like when I showed up in Norwalk. Let's go ahead and pause the video and take a look at what we have. Everything looks pretty good. There's no cars, or I should say very few cars, behind the building in the parking lot. Good. There are no cars in front of the building parked on the curb. That's good too. And then I see a big problem. There is a reflection in the glass from the store behind me, and this is going to kill my shot. So at this point, I almost packed up and left. But instead, I decided, you know what? Let me go ahead and set up the tripod, put the camera on just in case the light goes out. And then boom, the light goes out. So that put a smile on my face. So my first exposure readings were somewhere in the 4-minute range at f/22. And that's not going to work. I need probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds so I have a shot at getting clear traffic. So all I had to do was wait for the light to get a little bit brighter. So I metered a few times while I was waiting, and then as the meter was starting to show about 8 seconds, I decided to go ahead and take a shot regardless of how the traffic looks. I figured I needed a shot no matter what, because who knows, I may never get a clear shot with no traffic. So at 8 seconds with reciprocity, that put me at exactly 15 seconds at f/22. So I go ahead and take an exposure. And there's cars driving by. I figured in my head, you know what? Who knows? It might look good. I might like the streaks. Maybe yes, maybe no, but it's better than no shot at all. Because I've come this far, overcome this many problems. I want a shot no matter what. So I'll go ahead and take this shot. The bad news is, and I didn't know it at the time, is this shot miserably failed. There was a ton of camera shake, and I really don't know. I'm not sure how it happened. I don't know if one of the big trucks driving by shook the pavement. I don't know if I shook the camera. I've watched this video over and over again. I don't think that I shook the camera. The only problem that I can see with myself and the camera is the cable release is a bit too short, and I might have yanked on that cable just a little bit and moved the camera, but I don't think so. Okay, so getting back to my second exposure, I waited a few minutes. I wanted the sun to get just a little bit brighter in the sky. I definitely don't want it to break the horizon, but then I got a reading of about 4 seconds. So with reciprocity, that put me right about 6 seconds. So I figured I got a better shot at clear traffic. So I go ahead and wait for traffic just to break, and then I hit the shutter. Everything looks good. No cars, no cars. And then just as I release the shutter, I see that car on the left side of my screen. And you can see the look on my face. I go, oh man. So at the time, I wasn't sure if that car had entered the frame before I let the cable release go. So as I was packing up to leave and putting everything away, I figured, man, I probably have a 70% chance that I'm going to have to do this again. I didn't know at the time, but the first shot had failed, so everything was really riding on the second shot. But that second shot, I was not sure if that car entered the frame before or after I let the shutter go. So that kind of bugged me. So this is what it looked like a few minutes after I packed everything up. Just take a look at all the traffic that's driving by. So actually, everything said and done, I got pretty lucky with the traffic. I did get a clean shot, but maybe I have that car creeping on the left. I don't know yet. So I went ahead and went home, shipped off the film, and waited a few days. So I get the film back from the lab and I hold both exposures up to the window. Everything looks pretty good. I don't know that there's any problem. I put the first shot on the scanner, could have been the second shot, but just happened to pick the first shot, scanned it and looked at the results, and my stomach dropped. Man, was I disappointed. What a horrible job. Do I know what I'm doing? What the heck's going on here? What happened? Did I move my camera? I just was really bummed out. So a little bit dejected. I went ahead and took the second negative, put it on the scanner, scanned it, not being real hopeful, and then bam. I said, oh my gosh, I can't even see the vehicle. Man, I was so excited. I was punching the air, doing the moonwalk, going, yeah, who the man? I the man. I am the man. All right, what a good shot. Man, I was super, super pumped. Okay, so let's take a longer look at the shot itself. I was able to clear the power lines up at the top, except for just a little tiny sliver just to the left of the pole of some sort of, I don't know, transformer bundle or something. Just the bottom lip of that. So I just used some content aware fill, made that go away. And there was a small little tiny cable way up at the top right. You probably couldn't see it if I left, but I went ahead and removed that as well. And then at the bottom of the frame, right where the plant would have entered the frame, I really did a good job. It really didn't encroach on the frame too much, but there was just a little bit, so I content aware removed that, and then everything looks really good. There was nothing else that I had to do. And then I saw that there was a little bit of a, I don't know if it was a parked car or something on the right side of the building with just a little bit of the hood showing, so I went ahead and removed that. Other than that, the shot is as you see it. I couldn't really be happier with this shot. Everything looks really good. It looks almost daylight. It looks nice and bright. Really not a lot of pink in the shot. There is just a little bit of pink on the right side. I really didn't want the grand sunrise because it would have taken away from just the simplistic look of this entire shot. I like the little detail that the clouds give me. Everything just came out. I really could not be happier with this shot. I was just so excited after putting this all together, editing it, and it just came together really exactly what I was thinking. And when I started all this with all the problems, I didn't really think I would ever get to the spot. So I was really very, very happy. So let me share one more thing that is not going to make Epson scanner users very happy. The shot you're looking at is a drum scan. Now, I am an Epson scanner user. I love my Epson scanner. It does a great job. I believe I can get it just as sharp as a drum scanner. I know a lot of people would argue with that, but I take most of my large format negatives and send them out to Colorado to a guy named Alex Burke, and he drum scans them for me. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, why would you do that if you have an Epson scanner that's just as sharp? Well, let me show you. Let's take a look at the Epson scan that I did before I sent it out to get drum scanned. Now, the exposure itself, everything is almost exactly the same because I did the manual inversion on both of these negatives. So let's take a look. Here's the Epson scan, drum scan. Epson, drum. Epson, drum. So you can see just the big difference in color. Let's stop worrying about sharpness for just a moment. I know everybody likes to pixel peep, but ladies and gentlemen, it's not just about sharpness. The difference in color rendition between the drum scan and the Epson scan is huge. You can go ahead and research the difference between drum scanning and Epson scanning all over the internet. There's a ton of articles, and it would take forever to explain it here. Okay, so let's wrap this up. I'm going to leave a bunch of technical notes here where you can freeze the screen and read at your own leisure. These things would probably take another 10 or 15 minutes just to explain. So the point of this video was not for you to be impressed by my talents or lack thereof taking a picture of some old building in the middle of Norwalk. I think the point is for you to insert whatever photo that you have that's a challenge like this and get out there and take the photo. So let's do that, and I will see you next time.